Good evening, everybody. My name is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter, accompanied by Mr. Whiskers. Welcome back to my Flosstube channel. Today is Friday, December the 6th, 2024. This is Flosstube number 100. Number 100. If you are new to my channel, welcome. This is a channel where I feature my kitty cat and talk about my cross stitch. Are you ready to get down? And if you're returning to my channel, welcome back. Thanks so much for watching and following along with all the craziness and all the plans and all that mess. Stay. Okay. I haven't filmed since the day before Thanksgiving last week. I hope everybody who celebrated Thanksgiving last Thursday had a fabulous day. I had a wonderful time with my kids. We made a lot of food and it was all really good, and we ate a lot of food, and then we had leftovers and we ate more of the food, and it was excellent. It was excellent. My eyes feel like super dry. I had a very long day at work. I worked for like 11 and a half hours today. It was a long day. So what time is it? 8:30 at night. I usually would have already had this completely filmed or ending the filming at this point. But anyway, yeah, my eyes are like itching, so I keep rubbing at them. Apologies. Well, no apologies. My eyes itch, like from my contacts. Anyway, I don't have anything special planned for being Flosstube number 100. It's just crazy that I've done 100 of these things. But yeah, a lot of fun. I enjoy it. What else did I want to talk about? I think that might be it. Mr. Whiskers. So Mr. Whiskers actually started getting sick last. I'm trying to cut down on the echoey. Mr. Whiskers started getting sick the weekend after Thanksgiving. He had a lot of sneezing, a lot of like his eyes were watering. He had a respiratory infection last year. For anybody who's watched me over the past year, he had a respiratory infection last year and he ended up getting a UTI too. So when he started sneezing this weekend, I called the vet, but I had to find a new vet because we had moved. Not that the old vet was super far away, but I live in this town and the vet was in this town, and that's the town I work in. So I would have had to go from here over to here, bring him to the vet, bring him back over here, and then come back over here to go to work, because the vet was literally 5 minutes from the hospital I work at. I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm going to have to take off like a half day for a 1 hour appointment. So I found a vet that was actually the vet that we used to use when we lived over here a million moons ago. And they were able to get him in on Thursday. And by Thursday, he was feeling a lot better. And I felt like an idiot bringing him in. I was like, well, he was sick. He's not sick anymore. I said, but he's 10. And last year he had this and he almost died. So I didn't want him to die right before Christmas. My kids would be heartbroken. I would be too. And so would you guys. But yeah, no, he's feeling a lot better, but you might hear him sneeze from time to time. I think he's getting over whatever he had. Gracie's fine. She's over here gnawing away at her leg and grooming herself. I'm going to move the camera. Gracie. Hi, Gracie. There's Gracie Lou. Okay. All right. So let's talk about what everybody is here for, which is the cross stitch. Oh, and I cut my hair. I flip my head over, grab my hair like Cindy Lou Who, and just cut it. Anyway, here's my board. I got to work on every single project, which made me very happy. And I did extra on a couple projects. I actually had 2 days left over where I had worked on every project and did the stitches I needed to do, and I had 2 days left over. So I did an extra day on Honeymoon Sunset and an extra day on Yippee-Ki-Yay. Woohoo! I did a total of 7,507 stitches, and I worked on 19 projects, so we got a lot to show today. All right, where do I want to put this? I don't know yet. Let's do the weekly stuff first. So The first thing I want to show you is my whip of shame from last year. If you are new, because every week I get some new people, so hey new people. But every month I do a whip of shame where I have like about 15 projects that are over 10 years old. And okay, I have a confession to make for my old subscribers. A whole lot of latte, my current gel piece from Monopoly. So I went back to my early Flosstube days because I was curious if there was anything I showed where I had mentioned that it was really, really old. And I think it was like Flosstube number 3 or 4. I showed a whole lot of latte as a brand new kit that I had purchased. It's not 10 years old. It's copyright 10 years old, but it's not 10 years old. And I think that I just hate working on that piece so much. It feels like it's taken me 10 years to work on it. But it's staying in the whip of shame pile because it deserves it. Anyway, but for the rest of them, they really are over 10 years old because I do remember when I started those. But anyway, my whip of shame. Projects are over 10 years old. Halfway through the month, I show you guys 2 contenders for the following month. You guys vote in the comments to see which one you want me to work on. And the winner, now I have a cat hair. The winner is the next whip of shame. And my goal is to do 100 stitches a day for that month. So in the month of November, Riding the Wave from Creative Accents was my whip of shame piece. I worked on this one. A little bit differently. Normally, picking the hair off my lip. Normally when I do these half crosses, I do 2 half crosses and I count it as 1 stitch. So, but this month I was trying to kind of be a little bit more accurate of half crosses versus full crosses. And I was counting a half cross as a stitch, not for my games, but for this. And I was realizing towards the end of the month that I did not make as much progress on Riding the Wave as I probably would have if I counted 2 half crosses as 1 cross. Compare, like when I show this in a minute, when you compare basically my progress on October's whip of shame, which was walking to town. Yeah, October's whip of shame was walking to town, and the majority, I want to say about 95% of that was half crosses. And I did like half stitches. And I did 2 half stitches for 1 stitch. So if I said, oh, I did 100 stitches, I had actually done 200 half stitches. And I didn't do that for Riding the Wave. I said I did 100 half stitches. So when I show my end of month progress, this is gonna not be as much as it probably would have had I done it the original way. So all that to say that I'm going back to counting 2 as 1 for future projects because I get a lot more progress that way. Okay, so I should have my beginning of the month, not the last time you saw it. I'm going to do a beginning of the month photo at this point because my goal was to do 670 stitches on Riding the Wave to complete my end of month goal, and I did 696 stitches. And this was a combination of full cross and half cross to get that 696. No, I did not do 4 more to get to 700. I really didn't care. I was just finishing the thread. That's why it was higher than 670. Because I didn't want to leave a hanging thread when this is going to go away for a while. But yeah, so this is, I think like the last day or so, I worked a lot in this area. I had come over here, I was filling some of this in again, but the last couple days or last like few hundred stitches I worked on, I want to say, it might have been, because I think I did all of this on a Saturday. I think I did all this in one day. I did it before December the 1st. I know that much. But I want to say that I did most of it kind of in this area down here. But I like that you can kind of see a little bit more definition of that one horse that's right there in the middle. That one right there. Throw him in. There's a little bit of back stitching that still has to go in around his, like just a little bit, like around his, what is that? The muzzle? Around his face right there. And I think maybe like a little bit right down here. That's for future gen. But this is, so it needed 670. I still have to add all my stuff together because I did work on this earlier in the year. But I hit my 3,000 stitch goal on that. So, yay. And then I moved on to December's Whip of Shame that you guys voted on. And that was 3 bird watchers. And I did do my 100 stitches per day. I actually went over 100 almost every single day. But this is a really old kit from Dimensions. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. It was, I didn't even tell you who Riding the Wave was designed by. This one was designed by Martha Edwards. If you really want to know who designed Riding the Wave, you can go check out a past video because I said it then. But this is a really old kit from Dimensions. Oh, I feel like I have to sneeze. 1 second. Okay, so this is the Whip of Shame for the month of December. So my goal is to do 100 stitches a day on this for the month of December. And if I end up doing half crosses, I have not done them this week. But if I end up doing half crosses, then I will count 2 as 1 and that will show more progress. I will get to those when I get back into more of the background. But what I ended up doing was I worked on that little bird that's under the window. So I did a total of 556 stitches and they were all full crosses and worked on filling in that bird. So all of this part is done. All that's left is his little head that I have to finish. And so there is white stitching and there is just hard to see. And I'm doing whatever came in the kit. I did that for Riding the Wave too. I forgot to say that. But this is an 18 count ivory Aida and I'm just using the floss that came in the kit. So I will continue working on this week. I think what I'll do, my plan for this, let me try it this way. Let me hold it from the top. I think my plan for this is going to be to finish the cross stitches on the bird. And then I am either going to move to the half stitches that's in the windowsill right here that are like immediately surrounding the bird, so then I can back stitch him, or I will move down to the leaves that are right down here. I haven't decided which one I want to do yet, but I'm definitely going to finish stitching him at least, but I don't know if I'm going to work on the half stitches that are surrounding him so that I can get him back stitched, because I want to try to do the back stitch as I go and not wait for the end. Or if I'm going to move down to other stuff below him, because when I'm working on him, the leaves keep staring me in the face. So, but I got 556 stitches on that. And then the next thing I want to show is the full coverage weekly pull. So I have certain games that I play, I do the temperature stitching. I know people have referenced the temperature stitching and how it's been done. I'll talk more about that later, but that was me that they're talking about. But I also pull weekly projects that are not in any like of my focus things. Well, some of them are, but anyway. So I usually will pull a full coverage, a non-full coverage, and a new start until I hit 5 new starts, and then I rotate through them until they get 3,000 stitches. So my full coverage pull for the week was Fairy Tale Cottage, and this is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter, and it's 979 by 737 stitches, and it has 133 colors, and that is what it's going to look like when it is done. God, that looks so pretty. So I had originally started this over here in the upper left-hand corner, and I had worked a crap ton over here, and I worked my way down. And then I decided, because I'm doing this in tent stitch and half crosses, I decided that I wanted to convert this to a diagonal, but the way I like to do my diagonals coming from, because my half crosses go, it's my bottom leg of my full cross. So they go bottom left to top right. Oh my God. So my cross stitches, or my tent stitches, they go like this. So I want my diagonals to kind of go this way, to kind of, yeah. Anyway, so I want my diagonals to come from the upper right-hand corner. So I counted over 5,000 times to make sure I was in the right spot, and I started coming. So I've been working over here in the upper right-hand corner. So I'm still in like boring background. So I'm just going to show you the part I worked on. I'm not going to show you the rest of it because I'm going to show that in my whip parade. Oh yeah. So whip parade season is approaching. My favorite time of year. And I will be filming my whip parade tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to post yet, but I'm filming it Saturday, tomorrow. All right, so Fairy Tale Cottage. So anyway, the point of that is that I'm going to be showing it in my whip parade. So you'll be seeing it soon, the whole thing. But I'm doing this 2/1 10 stitch on I think this is a 25 count, easy count Lugana. And like I said, I'm converting it into a diagonal. And this is where I'm at with it so far on this corner. Like I said, I have a bunch of other stitches on the other side, but I did a total of 608 stitches. So I finished this diagonal here and I moved on to this one. And so what I do when I do something like this is I work in the parked threads. So like the next time this gets pulled out, these parked threads here will get worked in wherever they go and parked in the next diagonal or ended. And then I go back and I fill the diagonal in with the other colors. So it doesn't look like anything right now because it's like part of a tree, but I did 608 stitches. I am now at 25,842 stitches completed out of 721,523, and I am at 3.58% complete. So there's that. Like I said, the 3.58% is including all the other stuff that's on the other side, but I really don't want to unfold all this fabric and then fold it back up and then unfold it again tomorrow morning. So you'll just see it in the whip parade because I'll show the whole thing at that point. Okay. Yeah, so for the whip parade, I plan on starting to film tomorrow. I'm going to try to knock out all the filming in one day. I figured I know last year I filmed like 2 hours this day, 2 hours this day, 2 hours this. It was like 5 parts. I don't think my whip parade is going to be 5 parts this year because last year I also showed all the stuff that I wanted to start, and I'm not doing that this time. I'm just going to show the stuff that I actually worked on, and then any new starts that I know that I'm going to be doing, because there's a couple things that I know I'm going to be starting for certain things. I'll show those as well. So, all right, so next up is my non-full coverage pull for the week. And this is a kit from Dimensions and is called Baby ABC. It was designed by Krista Hamrick. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. I really like, I don't have any intention of giving this to anybody. I just really like stuff like this. It's a lot of fun for me. I like working, now not gonna, I really like working these block by block and completing it because it's like a mini finish. Not gonna lie though, I started in the middle on this thing, and this little carriage is driving me a little batty. I can't even lie about that. Normally I'm like, yeah, this is fun. Okay, this is fun. This thing is driving me nuts. But I did 303 stitches. This is a combination of full cross and back stitching. And this is where I'm at with it now. So I filled in this little bit right here. I completed all the stitching for the wheel right here. And I had filled in the stitches kind of going down this way and coming back up this way. There's going to be another wheel over here. I did some stitching up here, but I did, I think, like a couple strands of back. This is not completely backstitched, but I backstitched the outside, the inside, and then I was kind of like, I started, I think when I got to here, I still had thread. So I like kind of came over here and I kind of up here. I came down and I was wherever this starts, but I was doing the inside part, and then I kind of went down the spokes a couple times until my thread ended, and then I only had a few stitches left or a few minutes left to work. So I finished the thread over here and just like finished it off up here. So I did 303 stitches on this. And the back stitching on that wheel was reminding me of a Dimensions kit, which I have a lot of Dimensions kits, but I hate back stitching them because their back stitches are so weird. They don't like a lot of them are like, you know, you have to do like really long strands, like over 7 or 8 stitches, because there's no good place to you know, there's not like a hole to put it in or anything. So unless you're like splitting and going in between the stuff, you have to have really long strands. And that's what this one was doing to me. And it was kind of because I try to follow it as much as possible, but it was starting to really get on my nerves. And so I said, screw it. And I just kind of like eyeballed it, and I just put the back stitching around the wheel where I thought it would look okay. So next up is the new start that I had pulled for this week. And this is actually a restart of a Jan Lynn kit called Snowy Days. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. It was designed by somebody, Deborah Jordan Bryan. So this had come as a kit, and it was a stamped kit, and the fabric was more like embroidery fabric, where it's like printed, not like the stamp kits that you see now, where like it's like the colors are all funky and all that. It was like blue lines, like blue X's on the fabric, and there was no like count on the fabric because it's like embroidery fabric. Like it's not Aida, it's not linen, nothing. There's no holes. So I had started this a couple years ago, I think. I was working on it, I think maybe it was last year, and I was really, really hating working on it because I couldn't figure out, because the X's were so close together that I couldn't figure out where they ended, and it was really getting on my nerves. So what I did was I abandoned that. I don't even know what I did with that fabric. I might have tossed it. And I got new fabric. I did a 32. Do I have it in here? It's either a 28 or a 32. It might be a 32 count. Oh wait, I have the bag in here. Yep, 32 count white opalescent Lugana. I'm doing it 2/2, and I restarted it. And now I don't remember which way it goes. It goes this way. I started in the center, and it doesn't look like anything right now, but I did 300 stitches on it. And this is the yellow button that's on the snowman. This is like some blue shadowing on the snowman, and that's part of his scarf right there. So this light's really, ooh, the light's really showing that opalescent, huh? I can see it. I don't know if it's like translating on camera, but I see it in the camera. Sparkly. So I thought the pattern was really cute, and I liked it a lot. I just didn't like the fabric it was on. So I changed the fabric and I restarted it. And that's where I'm at with it so far. I have a goal for my new starts to do 3,000 stitches before they get set aside to be put into rotation somewhere else. And this thing is not going to hit the goal before I reset for next year. Because I'm doing all these plans and everything. And so it's not going to hit the goal of 3,000 stitches because everything is resetting at the, in the next week or so. Okay, so next up is my, I guess, kind of focus piece. And this is a piece I'm doing for my son. And it is called Yippee-ki-yay, Motherfucker. It is a quote from Die Hard. So any pearl clutchers out there, get over yourselves. I've already had to deal with one. It's for my kid. It's for my teenager. And it is a quote from a movie. It's from Die Hard. And this pattern is by Stitchman Darcy. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. I keep this out all the time. I started this like back in August. I could have had it done a lot sooner, but I kind of had set it aside a little bit. But I want to try to get this done by the end of the year for him. Not necessarily framed, but at least completed by the end of the year. So I actually ended up working on this for 2 days. And I did a combination, here we go, of full cross and back stitching, and I got 1,029 stitches. So I did some of the, let me stand up so I can see what I'm doing here. I did some of the back stitching on the little border part here. I back stitched that P that was in the middle. That was like really weird. I extended these snowflakes out here. I finished the letters. So now it actually says Yippee-ki-yay. I finished the white stitching in the E. I believe, I don't remember if this was back stitched or not. If it was, ignore what I'm about to say. I think I back stitched around the R square, and then I did the E. I back stitched around the E after I finished the thread, and then I still had thread left over, so I continued on the outside, and that's where it ended. You can kind of see it at this angle. The H, I've been doing like, because I get tired of doing the same color over and over when it's just row after row of the same color. So I would do like a strand here, then I move over to another color, then I come back and do another strand here. So I've been working on the white block that's around the H here, and I had done a thread in this block here for the T. So I'm going to keep this out and keep working on it. I need to finish. Oh, and I extended this line out here, but there's still going to be like this area. Oh, and I did that snowflake. This over here is going to be repeated over here. So I need to keep working on that. So I kind of know where to bring this and down. But I'm trying to kind of work on both. I'm trying to do some cross stitching and do some back stitching so that not all my back stitching is saved at the end. But yeah, I did a total of 1,029 stitches of full cross and back stitching. For the cross stitching part, I now have 4,646 stitches completed out of 6,661, and I am at 69.75% completed. So we're getting close. We're getting close. I have just over 2,000 full crosses to do. And the back stitching. So we're getting there. So if I need to, I will kind of set some other projects aside and specifically work on that towards the end if I need to get it done. So those were my weekly stitches. And now let's go over, I only have so much, I need another table. I need a table right here in front of me. I have you on a stand, like a tripod thing. So I use my couch as a table, but I need more space. Okay, let's go over my bake-off stitching. Okay, so Jessie Marie over at Jessie Marie Does Stuff, she came up with a cross-stitching game to go along with the Great British Baking Show. And I took elements of both versions that she had created and I adapted it to work for me. And so what I did was I signed the numbers 100 through 1200, every 100. I assigned them to, I randomly assigned them to the contestants, like the bakers for the current season that just ended. And that is not the notebook I wanted. Here it is. Nope, that's not the notebook I wanted. Here it is. I've got like 4 notebooks I'm tracking stuff in right now. Next year, I'm going to have it in 1 notebook. So I was working on week number 5, but I have 100 through 1200 randomly assigned to the different players. If they get a handshake, their stitch count assigned to them goes on my main piece. If they come in first place, or if they get Star Baker, or if they get eliminated, those stitches go on my main piece. And my main piece is Honeymoon Sunset. And then, oh, bless you, Mr. Whiskers. And then they're in the middle of the episode, there's a technical bake where they get a dish that they have to make. They have no idea what it is. The judges leave. They all bake the same dish, and then they all put it up on a table, and the judges come back and they do a blind judging where they don't know whose it is, and they rank it from best to worst. So there's a formula that Jessie Marie had come up with, and it's N times 25 and N times 50. N is the number of bakers left in the show. And the N times 25 goes for last place, N times 50 goes towards first place. So what I'm doing for that part is I have 2 pieces that I say are close to a finish, and they are not. I don't know what I was thinking, but I have 2 pieces that are quote unquote very loosely close to a finish. And I have one assigned to everybody who has an odd stitch count. Did I get it finally? And then one assigned to everybody who has an even stitch count. So whoever comes in last place, I look at what their stitch count is, and if it's even or odd, their stitches go on that piece. And then same thing with first place. So I was working on week 5, and for week 5 there was no handshakes, and the person who was eliminated and the person who got Star Baker, the combination of their stitches totaled 700. So I had to do 700 stitches on Honeymoon Sunset. And then for Bake Off, there was 8 bakers left in that episode, and the person who was in last place and the person who was in first place both had odd stitch count numbers. It was like 100 and, where is it? 900. So they were both odd. So both amounts of stitches went on the one that's assigned to the odd stitch count, and that was Bake the World. And that was a total of 600 stitches. So let me show you my technical piece first. And this is from Franny Ritter Designs, and says, Bake the World a Better Place. And again, I don't know why I have this. I'm a very poor judge of how close things are to being completed. I have discovered that since I started playing this. A very poor judge of how close things are to being finished. So this is where it was the last time you saw it. And I did a combination of full crosses, back stitching, and beading. I did 600 stitches. And that's where I'm at with it now. Aren't the beads really cute? They end up being the sprinkles and the cupcakes and everything. But this half of the pattern, let me just stand up. I see why some people stand to do these floss tubes now. It's easier to see what you're trying to film. But this half over here, this is done. Completely done. That part. That's all done because there's still some beads that go right here. And so what do I have left? I have to finish this cupcake. And there's one more cupcake here. And then there are hearts that will go here and here between those two cupcakes. I have to backstitch those hearts, these two cupcakes. I have to put the beads in here and then put the beads that will go in between and over the top. And then the words, I have to do the word world and place. Yeah, world and place. And then those two have to be backstitched as well. And they're not solidly backstitched, it's just part of it. You see what I mean? So not that much more to go. Yes and no. But yeah, this definitely was not as close to a finish as I thought it was. I'm a very poor judge of that. I'm really bad at that. And oh, I forgot to tell you, I was doing that. I'm doing that on a 28. I'm doing it 2/2 on a 28 count Jobelin by Witchell in the color coffee. And I'm using all the called for DMC, and I ordered the beads for that off of, did I get off 123 Stitch? I think it was 123 Stitch or Amazon, one of the two, I don't remember. But I'm using the called for beads as well. So that was the technical stitching. And then the main piece is Honeymoon Sunset. This was the other one that I actually did extra stitching on. And this is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter. It's 869 by 649. It has 133 colors. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. So I only needed to get 700 stitches on it for Bake Off. And I had ended up doing 800 because I was using it for my games, and I'm doing it in tent stitch, half cross. So I needed an even 100 so that I needed it to be at an even amount so that, because I cut those stitches in half. So even though I did 800 stitches for my Facebook games, it counts as 400 stitches. And I wasn't about to do like 700 stitches and have it be like 350. We're not doing that. So I bumped it up to 800, and then I ended up working on this a second day, and I got even more stitches on it. And so I did a total of 1,413 stitches on this. I don't know where my before picture is if I'm gonna end up showing two, or if I was able to get it all in one, because I worked from the bottom of the diagonal that I'm working on one day, and then I worked from the top on the other day. So this is where I'm at with it now. I believe yeah, so when the day that I did it for Bake Off, I had worked down here. And then when I decided to put an extra day on it, I had scattered stitches. I had scattered stitches up here, and so I wanted to get those filled in, and so I decided to work from the top of this diagonal, working my way down. And so I got all the way down to here, and then I had to stop for the night. So all I have left for this diagonal is this part right here. But yeah, that's that corner right there. So I now have, oh wait, let me just show this whole thing here. Actually, hold on, because I want to show you the whole thing. I'm going to show it again in my whip parade, but I want to show you where I'm at. Let me figure out my life. Hang on. How's this go? Okay. Here we go. Okay. I am now at 211,861 stitches done out of 563,981, and I am at 37.57%. So I'll get closer in the whip parade. I'm just going to hold it back here for a minute. But yeah, I've been focusing in this corner over here. Oh my God. And I think when I get this diagonal completed, I was chatting with Alara. She's still alive. For those of you who are subscribed to both of us, she is still alive. I keep telling her, I'm like, girl, you need to film an update like now. But I was telling her, I said, I kind of almost am debating, once I get that diagonal done, I'm almost debating when I come back down here if I want to do 2 diagonals as I go up. Like working 2 of them instead of just 1 and make it a 40 stitch wide diagonal going up. Because now we're getting into the fun stuff. Like the next, even if I just did 1 diagonal, like once we start getting up here, this gazebo is going to get filled in more. Like it's going to get filled in even more. So it's like, you can tell it's a gazebo, but it'll look even like better. And then, you know, now I'm actually starting to get into the house right here. Was that house done the last time? I don't know if it was. I don't think it was. Oh, it wasn't. I don't think it was. Okay, so I got the corner of the house right there and the chimney. My bad, guys. I forgot. That's what happens when I work on this for multiple days. I forget what you've seen and what you haven't. So, yeah. Oh, my God. So, this got filled in a little bit more right there. So, now you can actually see the top of the gazebo, right? And then as I came up here, the corner of the house got done right there. And that's the chimney, and all that white that you guys have been seeing coming in right there, that's smoke from the chimney. That wasn't a cloud. Oh my goodness, my bad. And then up here, the lighthouse roof is starting to get filled in. And all this is the light coming from the lighthouse. So, sorry. Whoops. The next diagonal, even if I just did 20 stitch wide diagonals like I've been doing, the next diagonal will have some, like more of this gazebo and even more of the house. But if I did 40 stitch wide diagonals, I'm just trying to like zoom in enough. There we go. So if I did a 20 stitch wide diagonal, we would see mostly the roof right here coming in, some of the side. But if I did a 40 stitch wide, we would actually see a good chunk of this house coming in that's next to the lighthouse. And then we would also get a good portion. Let me go up. Yeah, I would almost have, if I did 40 stitches wide, I would have almost this entire part of the lighthouse. We would start seeing that part, whatever that's called. But we would also have like just about this entire part, the light part of the lighthouse, completed. So we're like getting into the fun stuff now, and it's like super exciting, and I want to see as much of it as possible. So that's why I was debating on the 40 stitch wide diagonal. So okay, so that was, do I need that pen? I just dropped a pen. So that was my bake-off stitching. Okay. Next up is, what's next? Temperatures. Okay. So this is where a few different people have referenced my channel. I got the temperature stitching idea from Siski over at Siski Stitches, and she had assigned projects to every single temperature, and then she would, whatever temperature it was that day, she would do 100 stitches on that project. Well, I live in West Central Florida in the Tampa area. We do get cold fronts. Like, it's actually been pretty cold all week. It hasn't gone above, like, I think today was the highest temperature it's been, and it was 68 degrees for the week, Fahrenheit. And so we've actually had kind of a cold front coming through where actually I had to turn my heater on because it was dropping to near freezing temperatures overnight. But for the most part, it's usually pretty warm. So I didn't want to be working on this. I didn't want to be working on the same one or two whips because it's always like 81, 82, 81, 82, always, you know? So what I did was I took that idea and I morphed it into something that would work for me. So I did 0 through 9, and I assigned a project to each number. So I had 10 projects total. And whatever, I look at the upcoming temperatures for the week. Some people like to look at the past temperatures. Some people like to do it day by day. It doesn't matter. The whole point is we're just working on getting some extra stitches. It doesn't matter what temperature. You could even do the low. Next year I'm doing high and low. But it doesn't really matter how you do it. Whatever works for you. There's no right way and there's no wrong way. But I do 10 projects, 0 through 9. I look at the forecasted highs for the upcoming week. And my stopping date is when I plan on doing my next Flosstube. So when I had filmed last Wednesday, I took that day and every day, and I stopped at last night because I knew I was filming today. So my stitching that I pull for this week, my plans that I show you later, the temperature stitching will start from today and extend through next Thursday will be my next Flosstube. So I'll go through next Wednesday. So I do, whenever that temperature gets called, I do 100 stitches on that project. Once it hits 1,000 stitches, I switch it out for a different project because I have like 5,000 projects. So I switched it out for a different project, and it ends up, once it gets switched out, it will have 1,000 stitches on it. So first up is Cup of Cheer. This got called once. The temperature came up one time. Yesterday, the temperature's hot. The projected high was 71 degrees. I don't know what it ended up being. I really don't care. I'm just looking at the projected. But that was Cup of Cheer. Do you hear that? That's Gracie. She is curled up into a ball so tight that she's like snoring, wheezing. Oh my gosh, sounds like a little accordion. Okay, anyway, Cup of Cheer is assigned to number 1. I didn't have anything come up for the number 0, but number 1 is Cup of Cheer by Shannon Christine Designs. This came up once yesterday with a projected high of 71, and I'm doing this on I don't know if it's a 14 or a 16 count, like some kind of gray 8. I have no idea what the fabric is. I don't know. but I did 100 stitches on it, and I did them in this cup over here. That brown right there, so that brown up there is the cocoa, or yeah, the cocoa that's in there. This brown down here is the little snowman arm. It's hard to see. Where's this arm? Right there. That little snowman arm. But yeah, so I did 100 stitches on this. And so I said I switch after they've been worked on 10 times. This has 6 more times it can be worked on before it gets replaced, or until I start my new plans for next year. I tend to start my new plans in the month of December once my whip parade has been filmed, so I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do. Now I'm thinking, because I wasn't planning on doing any stitching. I wasn't planning on doing any stitching today because I have to film this, and then I have to film my November update. Like my November end of month recap, where I show you all the projects I worked on for the month and before and after, from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. And then I was going to film my whip parade tomorrow. Now I'm debating, should I go ahead and not show what I'm working on? No, I'm going to go ahead. Okay, so here's, I know I'm still showing whips, but I gotta go into plans for just a minute, because I have modified and updated my plans for 2025, but I knew I was going to start them in December after my whip parade was done. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm still thinking. I'm debating if I should start my plans. I'm debating if I should start my plans right away or if I should wait one more week. That's what I'm thinking on. So let me finish showing my whips. Okay. So that was number 1. And then number 2 did not come up at all. The next one was the number 3, and that came up once on the day before, the day of, maybe I did Thursday through. Anyway, on the 28th, how about that? On the 28th, the projected high was 83. It was hot over Thanksgiving. And so the one assigned to number 3 is Let's Talk Stitching by Hands On Design, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. And this I'm doing this on a 14 count black Aida with the called for DMC, and this got 100 stitches, and this is where it's at now. So I finished the word Aida, and then I decided that I was going to start the stitching over here. It's going to say cross stitch starting at the top, kind of going like, say it's a T. It's going to say cross stitch going down that way. There's so much freaking white on this. 38.65. I hate stitching with white, but it looks really good. It's like a chalkboard. It's like a chalkboard. I really like it. So that got 100 stitches, and this has 3 more times to be worked on until it gets replaced, or until I start my new plans. Okay, next up was Halloween Wishes. That was it. So nothing was assigned. The number 4 didn't come up at all. Number 5 did. That was 100 stitches. On December the 2nd, the projected high was 65 degrees. See, the 28th, it was 83, and then it dropped over the weekend down to the 60s, and then it stayed down that low. And it was in the 60s during the day, but it dropped to the 30s at night. And it was 58 degrees when I left work tonight. Okay, so number 5 is Halloween Wishes by Glendon Place, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. It says, ghosts and goblins, spooks galore, scary witches at your door, jack-o'-lanterns smiling bright, wishing you a, I always get that wrong, haunting night, because I can't read it. I think that the fabric that it was stitched on, I feel, my opinion, is that it's a little bit too dark for my taste. So I'm doing it on a, I think this is a 32 count Vintage Stormy Night by Swigart. Got a really long thread hanging here. And I got 100 stitches on it. And so I finished the S up here. And then I came down here and I decided to start working back down in this here. And I did the C. Did I finish the K? No, that was already done. I did the C and worked on the A. The A is almost done for jack-o'-lantern. So that is where I'm at on that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to confer with a couple of my cohorts, a few of my stitchy pals. And I'm going to show you my whips, and then I'm going to pause like I normally would. I'm going to confer with them on what they think I should do, because obviously you guys have opinions too, and I care about your opinions, but you can't tell me the opinions until I've posted the video, and I can't do that yet until I decide what I'm going to do about if I'm going to start my new plans right away or if I'm going to, yeah, so, all right, let me move on. Okay, so next up was the Haunted Library Sale. That was number 6. The 6 came up on the December the 3rd. The high was 66 degrees. Haunted Library Sale is by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. This was a stitch along. She's on Etsy. And this was a stitch along she put out in 2022. And that's a bad printout. Don't go off of this, but that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm still in the prologue, which is just the staircase, and that's it. So I'm a little bit behind. Just a little bit. I got 100 stitches on it. Just a little bit behind. I'm doing this on an 18 count Vintage Country Mocha and my 100 stitches, so that's all that. But my 100 stitches were all like right in here. So I started bringing this banister down, and I filled in some of this part right here too. So. And that has 6 more times that it can be worked on. With all the stuff I said. Replacing blah, 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 blah. Okay, 7 did not come up on the thermometer. 8 did though. 8 came up 2 times. On the 29th, there was a projected high of 78, and on the 30th it was a projected high of 68. That's how quick the temperature dropped. On Thursday it was 83, Friday it was 78, Saturday it was 68. But yeah, so projected high of 78 and 68. So this got 200 stitches, and by this I mean Mother Nature Christmas. Whoopsies. This is out of Just Cross Stitch Magazine. I dropped something. This is out of Just Cross Stitch Magazine from 2023. It was the December 2023 issue. And I screenshot the cover photo and printed it out. That's what she's going to look like when she's done. So I subscribed. Someone had asked me, so I told them I would try to remember to talk about this in the next update. But I subscribe to the Readly app. I think it's Readly. Readly. It is a monthly subscription. I want to say right now it's like $12.99 US dollars. And I think that it is completely and totally worth it because you have access to all the cross-stitching magazines. I have access to like at least 5 or 6 that I can think of off the top of my head. But it's basically a magazine subscription service, and it gives you digital issues of all of the magazines that are available, and you have access to back issues as well. So that's how I look at this. So I pull up my app on my phone, and I have the pattern bookmarked. So I just go to my bookmarks, and I have all the Mother Nature pieces bookmarked. So I just go to my bookmarks and I pull her up, and I screenshot her cover photo and printed it. And then I also screenshot because I have not figured out if you can actually print from their app or not. I don't think you can, but I screenshot the legend and printed that out, so they don't have to like flip back and forth. But I like it because, you know, you can't really mark it off or anything, but I don't care about that, but you can zoom in. So it makes it a little bit easier to read a magazine pattern. So anyway, she came up twice, so she got 200 stitches, and this is where I'm at with her so far. So I'm doing her on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, 2/2. And I finished all the cross stitching in her from the neck up. All the cross stitching is done, and I went back and I did some back stitching in that flower wreath on her head, and I did the French knots that are over here and the French knots that are here, and I did some back stitching in her face because she was looking very creepy. There is still more back stitching that I need to do. That is that white, is that cat hair? No, that's a fabric thread. There we go. She was looking very creepy with no back stitching on her face. So I did the black back stitching. There is still 1 or 2 colors that need to be back stitched in her head. So I'll do that next time she gets work done. So that got 200 stitches. Oh, Cup of Cheer had 102 stitches. My bad. I did 102 so I could finish that thread. Or there was like, no, it was the little snowman arm. And I was like, I'm not going to end this and have 2 stitches of brown to come back to next time. And that was all that he had left for that arm. I forgot to put this back in the bag. The thing I dropped, my little card, my little reference card. Last piece up was the number 9. And, oh, Mother Nature Christmas, she has 7 more times to be worked on. Okay, the last one up is number 9, and that came up twice. On December the 1st, the high was 69 degrees. On December the 4th, the high was 69 degrees. So the number 9 got 200 stitches, and the number 9 is Spanish Sampler out of 101 Best Loved Designs by Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. And let me find the photo. I bought this book off of this girl on Facebook Marketplace for like 25 bucks. Couldn't beat that. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. I got this book because I want to do a mid-Amish life out of it. And I haven't even started that one yet. But I started this one, Spanish Sampler. And I'm doing this with the called for DMC on a 28 count white casual linen that I had in my stash. I hate working with linen, but it was in my stash and the pattern fit. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll deal. And this is where I'm at with it now. So I worked in I worked on filling the banner, this band in more. So I got like a lot of the ecru and the 3041, and this I think is 612, the color. So I was working on the 4-sided stitch of 612, and then I was getting tired of it. So I was filling in with the ecru and the 3041. So this is, sorry, this is where this band ends right here. And not gonna lie, I'm getting tired of that band because it's the same thing over and over. So what I might do the next time this thing gets pulled out, what I might do, I'm looking for the picture again. Where the F is it? Here it is. Okay. So what I might do the next time this gets pulled out is I might go down to this. I know it's hard to see. It's because they take really crappy photos in 1984. What I might do is I might come down to this band and start working on it and alternate between the two. That might be what I do. So I'm getting tired of that band up there. It's getting on my nerves. Okay. I really like the piece though, so I'll be happy to see some more progress on it. Okay. That was it for temperature stitching. Okay. Monopoly stitching. This is why I'm like, oh man, okay, but I guess I could go ahead. I don't know. That's why I was debating on if I should just start over because I didn't. This kind of sprung it on you guys that I might start my new plans, and I haven't officially ended the game of Monopoly yet. But like I said, I'm gonna pause and confer with my friends and get their opinions, and then I will come back and let you know. Because if I decide to work on my new plans, then I'm gonna have to upload this video with no stitchy plans, do my whip parade, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, let me get rid of my thermometer, temperature book. All right, Monopoly. Where's my Monopoly? Here it is. Okay, so Monopoly. I play Monopoly. I use 4 tokens, and you guys have the options. This is why I was like, you guys, a lot of you guys play along with me at home, right? And a lot of you guys play along at home. You pick a token and you do whatever stitches. Did I put that on my last description box? Pretty sure. Yeah, I think I did. Okay. I usually will put the location where the tokens landed and how many stitches that they had to do in the description box. And I was trying to think if I did that or not last week. Anyway, so I played around in Monopoly. And so the cat went first and he passed go. But so did another piece. So I'm going to show that piece later. And the cat passed go and he landed on Connecticut Avenue, which he had to pay rent for. And Connecticut Avenue is Summertime by Stitchrovia. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. And Connecticut was on side 1. I was trying to make it easy for myself, so I said everything on side 1, rent is 100 stitches, like purchasing is 200, rent is 100. Everything on side 2, it's 200, and then, what did I say? Oh, wait, hold on. Side 1, rent was supposed to be 50. I did 100. I was going to do 100 anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway. I'm doing this with a call for DMC on a 14 count white opalescent Aida. And I got my 100 stitches. I did it over here. I think I did the pink. So this is in Pattern Keeper. And so I'm now at 4,067 stitches completed. Out of 9,416, I am at 43.19% complete. Yeah, it just clicked in my head. Connecticut is on side 1. Side 1 should have been 50 stitches for rent. And I wrote down 100. I don't know why I wrote down 100. It should have been 50. But it didn't matter because I was going to do 100 anyway. So, but now I don't remember what I put in the description box under the Flosstube. Last Flosstube. Okay, then, like I said, it passed go, and so it did stitches on the reindeer stocking for go, but I will show that because another piece passed go too. The dog landed on Pennsylvania Railroad and purchased it. Pennsylvania Railroad is Summer Sampler by Cooler Design Studio. And Pennsylvania Railroad is on side number 3. So the purchase price was 300 stitches, right? 200 stitches. Did I get my stitches incorrect? Sorry, I dropped my board. Spring. No, Pennsylvania Railroad is on side 2. Never mind. Okay, Pennsylvania Railroad is on side 2, and I just kept the railroads and utilities the same purchase price as the properties. So it was on side 2, so purchase price was 200, and Pattern Keeper, I know, okay, Pattern Keeper did an update where it now reads fractionals, like fractional stitches, and I didn't even show you what this was going to look like. Hang on. I'm like so out of sorts now. All I can think about is what I was saying. What am I going to do about my plans? Summer Sampler, Jesus, by Cooler Design Studio. Artwork is by Sandy Orton. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. So Pattern Keeper, this did not used to be compatible with Pattern Keeper. Because it has, I mean, it's got a lot of back stitching, but it also has a lot of fractionals, and fractionals were not compatible with Pattern Keeper. Well, they did an update. Now it is. Now it does read fractionals. And so I was able to upload Summer Sampler into Pattern Keeper, which I was super excited about. So I did it, and now I can give you a percentage complete of the cross stitching, not the back stitching. So 200 stitches were completed. So I finished the little bit of back stitching that was for this lighthouse and the house here. And I think what I did was I actually did the white stitching that was right here so that I could, because the back stitch that goes around the tomato seed pack and this side of the lighthouse and the house were all the same color. So I was like, well, let me do this part first, and then I can just at least backstitch all that at once, which is what I did. And then I started working on the tomato seed pack. So now I can tell you a percentage complete with what I have so far. So now I'm at 1,646 stitches completed out of 31,132, and I am at 5.29% complete, minus back stitching. And I'm doing this with a call for DMC 2/2 on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. So that was exciting when I realized I could do that. I mean, I've been working off paper. I have no issues working off paper patterns. None whatsoever. I don't mind paper patterns. But it was pretty cool that I was able to do that. Okay, so that was the dog. The thimble. So the dog landed on Pennsylvania Railroad. Oh, I said that wrong. The dog landed on Pennsylvania Railroad and had to pay rent of 100 stitches. The thimble landed on Pennsylvania Railroad and also had to pay rent of 100 stitches. That's why that 200 was there. That's why the 200 was there. Sorry. I am like all out of sorts right now. My bad. Okay, the car went last. It rolled doubles, landed on Park Place. and it had to, Park Place was not owned, so it went ahead and purchased it. And so purchase price on side number 4 is 400 stitches. And that is Mirabilia's Nightingale by Nora Corbett. I'm not doing her on that puke green fabric that looks like baby vomit. I am doing her with the called for threads on a 2/2 on a 28 count even weave. Picture this plus, maybe. 28 count Lugana in the color Dusk by Picture This Plus. So I got 400 stitches done on her, and this was a combination. This was a combination of cross stitches and beads. So I got some of the beading done because I stitch in hand, so I don't have to worry about like a Q-snap or a hoop hitting the, like crushing the beads. So I went ahead and got some beading done on her while I was stitching, and now she is looking really, really good. So I got some white beads in over here. I got some of the blue beads in all over here. This needs beads right here. This does not have the beads in it. But I got 400 stitches done on her. So that's exciting. It's hard to see the beads, but they're there. Like the white beads anyway. Oh, and so last week, when I was showing this, right? And I was like, oh my God, I forgot a cry neck. I can't believe I did that. I figured it out. So the other cry neck that I thought that I was missing goes in this lantern right here. And when I looked at it and I saw where it went, I'm going to do the glow in the dark. I have a Petite Silk Lame that's glow in the dark, and I'm using that for her lantern. That's what it was. And that glow in the dark thread is currently living, I have 2 packs of it, and it's currently living in 2 places. I have 1 pack in my Poltergeist Pirates, and I have the other pack that the other card, I have the other card in Halloween Letters. So that's what it is. I wasn't missing a Krynic. I was substituting it for the Petite Silk Lame glow in the dark. Okay, so the car had rolled doubles, landed on Park Place, purchased Nightingale, and then when it rolled again, it passed go. And then when I pass go, I have to do 200 stitches on the go piece. And my go piece is Enchanted Christmas Reindeer. It's a stocking charted. It comes in a few different ways because there's like an ornament that Darren Dizzy Stitcher is doing. I'm doing it in a stocking, and I want to say it comes in like a regular piece as well. But this is the Enchanted Christmas Reindeer by Donna Gelsinger. And I got the stocking version because I'm doing it for one of my boys. I don't know which one yet. I got 2 stockings. I don't know which one is getting this one. It don't matter. I just picked 2 stockings that I liked, and I knew that either one of them would like. But this one ended up getting 400 stitches on it because 2 pieces passed go. Whoopsies. I'm doing it 2/1 10th stitch on a 25 count easy count Lugana. I'll show you the rest of it in a minute, but that's where I'm at with it now. Well, that's where I'm at with it now. But that's where I worked. So I got 400 more stitches on it, and I am currently sitting at 13,205 stitches done out of 55,903, and I am at 23.62%. So it's a lot of green in that in that top part up there. I'm like, oh my dear God. Holy cow, it's a lot of green. Okay. So past go, and it ended up landing on Mediterranean Avenue. And I had to quickly come up with a replacement piece for Mediterranean Avenue because I UFO'd the original Mediterranean Avenue piece. And so I just grabbed one of my gnomes and I said, this is the new Mediterranean. This is by cutebroidery.com. And it is, I'm calling it Bee Gnome. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. Let's not get too close, Jen. Got a pattern you're showing. That's Bee Gnome. And so the rent on side one, because it's on side one, so the rent is 50 stitches, but I don't like the 50 stitch count, so I just went ahead and did 100 on it. And that's where I'm at with her now. So I did my, I did the 100 stitches in her braid. So I got to start on her braid right here. So there's that. Okay, so those are all my whips. Okay, now let's talk about my little dilemma here. Not really dilemma, but why I keep kind of thinking about this. So usually what I've been doing the past couple years is when I film my whip parade, I start my new plans soon after that, like the week after that. I'm filming my whip parade tomorrow. Like if I was filming my whip parade throughout the entire week and I wasn't posting it for 2 more weeks, then I'd be like, okay, whatever. But I kind of plan on filming my whip parade tomorrow and then maybe having it possibly post all the parts posted on Sunday. And it's like if I do that, and if I start my new plans, because here's my other thing too, is like I'm gonna throw myself off because like when I film my whip parade, that starts my new stitch counts and everything, starts them all fresh, right? So basically my 2025 plans would go into effect once my whip parade was done. So my numbers would be off. Like it would be bugging me that I had like this week's stitching. It might be a me thing. So it's like, so basically here's my options, because then if I start my new plans, I don't need to be updating boards today, and I'm not going to be picking whips today. Like I would post the video with me just yammering on about this crap, and then I'd be like, okay, you know, good luck seeing what I'm going to work on. But then what I would do is I would film my whip parade, and then I would, no, I think I'm going to have to wait. Because I still have to film the video where I have you guys help me pick my whips for the low temperatures for the new plants. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. Okay, I'll do one more week of this. So this is gonna be, I believe, the final week of my current plans, because I gotta film my end of month recap for November. I have to film my whip parade tomorrow, and then I'm going to film, what I'm going to do with my whip parade is as I show the projects, I'm going to set them, I'm going to divide them up into like 2, maybe 3 piles. One is going to be projects that I'm okay with waiting on to work on. Like I don't have to work on them, right? One pile is going to be stuff that I wouldn't mind working on it. And then the other pile is going to be stuff that I really would like to work on, because I haven't really cemented which whips are going to go into the start of next year. Not like the only ones, but the ones that I'm going to start the year off with. So I haven't really ironed that out, and I don't want y'all to be waiting forever for me to figure it out. Plus I need to have the video where you guys help me decide which ones to work on for the low temperatures for the year. So we'll go ahead and do one more regular week, maybe two. It depends on how everything goes with the filming. So let's go ahead. All that, but this is what I do. I had to sit here and I was like, oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do this. But we'll go ahead. Now I just talked it out to myself and I figured out what I need to do. So we'll go ahead and keep going with the regular stuff. And I'm just gonna have to deal with the fact that I'm gonna have this year's, like these plans on next year's whip parade. It's fine. Okay. Oh, so I'm drawing projects for my weekly stitching now, if you're new. I usually am this nuts. But I'm drawing projects for my my weekly stitching. And then once I do this, I got to update the boards too. Okay. So this is my full coverage for the week, and this is White Tiger Ghost. So I'll show you guys what that looks like when I come back and show you what I'm going to work on. This is my non-full coverage for the week. And these things right now are just stuff that if I have time, I'll put stitches in on them. Ooh, Holiday Quaker. Yay. Ooh, I love both of those. Okay. And then my new start, I have Whip a Shame almost to a finish and New Starts all in the same basket right now. So I'm just going to pull one out and I'll just pick until I pull a New Start. If I pull a New Start, the New Start Cherry Blossom, it will be the newest start. Nope, that's a Whip a Shame and that's a Whip a Shame. Those are Whips a Shame. What's this one? Yes. Okay, so all my new starts, like I was saying earlier, I have a goal of getting 3,000 stitches on them before they get set aside. This one is Christmas Cupcake. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these boards updated. Let me figure out my life. I just had the stupid notebook that I had those numbers written on. Here it is. Okay, so my boards. And my fourth board that I need for next year's plans is going to be arriving on Sunday. So that's exciting. Okay, it's been getting erased up here from where I grab it. But this is my non-full coverage board. So we're going to update my boards now. And basically, what I was doing when I started doing this was I had goals of 5,000 stitches on these, and I didn't start these plans until really late in the year. This version of the plans, I didn't start it until really late in the year. So that's why these numbers are so bad, because. Okay, so on this board, this is my non-full coverage board, and we are going to be updating Baby ABC. And I did 300 stitches, right? 303 stitches on it. So my non-full coverage pieces, when I originally had all these, I had 20 that I wanted to work on, pick from. And I had goals of 5,000 stitches each. And I had originally planned on doing this long term, but then Monopoly happened, and then Bake Off happened. And temperature stitching, I think, also happened. So those plans got thwarted pretty quickly. So I don't know why I'm really doing this, but I know you guys really enjoy watching this. So we're going to keep going with it. What I plan on doing is I plan on having, for next year, I'm going to have my Monopoly pieces on 2 of these boards, because there's, I think, 28 total pieces, and I can't fit 28 on here. So I'm going to have Monopoly properties, like the ones with the color bars at the top. I'm going to have the Monopoly properties on one board, and then I'm going to have there's 28 properties, but I have extra pieces because I have one for Go, I have one for free parking, and then I have 2 for the jail, like when you get thrown in jail, and then when you're just passing through. in just visiting jail. So I'll have those pieces plus the railroads and utilities on a second board. And then my third board is going to be all the temperature pieces. And then my fourth board is going to be kind of like my full coverage, non-full coverage stuff that I rotate through. I think the new starts will be on there as well. And then I have a fifth, my little board, my fifth board will be my Honeymoon Sunset Whip of Shame. And I think I might do like my Bake Off and my Whip of Shame on the smaller board. I haven't quite figured that out yet. Okay, so that was my non-full coverage. And I have goals. I talked about this all in my plans video, but I have goals for when pieces get replaced so that we'll be able to do these countdown numbers like this, because a lot of you guys really like watching the numbers go down. So I did go ahead and replace my new start list with Snowy Days. So I feel like I'm poking a hole in my shirt with the corner of this board. So I did 300 stitches on this, and my new starts have a goal of 3,000 stitches. So this is dropping from 3,000 down to 2,700. And then down here, Bake the World, number 2, I had already done 514 stitches. I don't have final counts for my finishes because I have no idea how many stitches it's going to take to finish it. But I'm telling you right now, this list right here of possible finishes, hardly any of them are really close to a finish. We'll figure this out when I go through my whip parade. But Bake the World a Better Place. I'd already done 514 stitches and I'm adding 600 to it. So we are now up to 1,114. See what I mean? I've done 1,100 stitches on this and I'm saying it's close to a finish, and I still have 2 cupcakes, 2 words, 2 hearts, beads, and back stitching to go. What was I thinking? Oh my God, now I have a hair on my nose. Okay, next up is my full coverage board. There's 2 we're going to update on here because my reindeer stocking in Monopoly is on this board. My full coverages, I have a goal of 10,000 stitches. Obviously not all of them. I actually worked on quite a few of them, but not all of them have gotten worked on since I started doing this. But my reindeer stocking, which is in Monopoly, is also on this list. So we're going to update this. I ended up doing 400 stitches on it. So it's going from 1,600 to 2,000. And this is dropping from 8,400 down to 8,000. So the idea is that once it hit its goal of 10,000 stitches, it would get replaced with something else. And that was back when I was just pulling full coverage, non-full coverage out of the baskets, and that was all I was doing. So my plan was actually to get a lot more stitches on these things because I was just pulling from those baskets. But that didn't happen. Surprised? No. Okay, so this is my little board, and this is what I was saying. I might do my Bake Off and my Whip of Shame on here. But right now I have a goal of Honeymoon Sunset to get it to 45% by the end of 2025. I'm actually going to see about pushing it to 50% by the end of 2025. So that will change, but I will update that when I do all my board updates. But for right now, 45% by the end of 2025. So I still needed 43,343 stitches to get that done. I think when I made that goal, I needed like 59,000 and change. So that's what we were counting down from. So this number here, that's how many stitches I had done. I've done since I stated that goal. So it's going from 15,883. It is now up to 17,296. And my stitches needed remaining is dropping from 43,343. It is now 41,930. 3 bird watchers, my goal, this is a new goal for me because I just started working on that December the 1st. My goal is to get 3,100 stitches on it because it's 100 stitches a day for that month, and December has 31 days. I have done 556 stitches on it so far this month. So my goal is dropping from 3,100 stitches, or stitches remaining is dropping from 3,100 down to 2,544. And then yippee-ki-yay, my goal is to finish it. The stitch goal on here, I did the 66, 61, which was the cross stitches, and then I added 1,000 stitches for back stitching, but I think that it's a lot more than that for back stitching, so we're kind of playing that by ear. So this is going from 4,080 stitches completed, that is both cross stitching and back stitching, to 109. And stitches remaining is dropping from 3,384 down to 2,355. And yes, that number definitely is inaccurate because I still have 2,000 stitches left on the cross stitching. There's definitely not only 355 stitches of back stitching left. There's still a lot more to go. Okay, so those are my board updates. I pulled my projects already. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video. We're going to play a round of Monopoly, and then I'm going to show you all of the whips that I will be working on for the rest of, for next week. So I will be back. Okay, so all right, so gotcha. I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to do Monopoly. I'm not going to show you my plans. I ended up chatting with Alara, and me and her were kind of like going back and forth about everything. And I was telling her why I wanted to start the new plans right away and all that. And after a little bit of back and forth, I decided I want to start the new plans right after I do the whip parade. So ignore the polls that I did. If this is your first video with me, my plans change all the time. If this is not your first video with me, I know you're not surprised. Because I wasn't going to be doing any filming tonight. At this point right now, it's 10:30 p.m. on Friday. It's 10:30 on Friday night. So I'm not sure when this video is going to post, if it's going to be like in the middle of the night. But I'm not going to do any filming tonight. I'm not going to do any stitching tonight because I still have to film my end of month recap too. And I also am going to be filming my whip parade in the morning tomorrow, Saturday. I don't know how many parts that whip parade is going to be. Last year's was 5, but I showed a crap ton of pieces that I want to start, and I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to just be showing the new starts that are going to be planned at least for the month of January. So I'm still going to do my new start pulls, but I have starts that are going to be planned on certain days due to starting them with a group of friends. So I'll show those in the whip parade, but all my other new starts, I'm not going to be showing those because I've already done that in the past. And I also did like a stash dive, I think it was, or new start parade of stuff that needs to be started still that I had ready to go. I did that a while back. So I don't have any plans right now. I don't have any plans of what I'm going to be working on for the upcoming week. Because my temperature pieces are going to be changing. Everything, all those numbers I just updated are for nothing because I'm going to start my new plans this weekend. So here's what's going to happen. Everybody who's playing along with Monopoly, sorry. Sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video tonight, and I'm going to film my whip parade on Saturday. And as I'm going through the whip parade, I'm going to set aside the projects that I really, really would like to get started, or not get started, that I would really, really like to work on, because I've been like, oh, I really want to work on this. I really want to work on this, you know, and I know that there's pieces in my closet that I have not gotten to work on in a while that I really would like to work on. So as I'm going through everything, I'm going to divide it up into stuff that I would be okay with waiting until later in the year next year to work on, and stuff that I would really like to work on sooner rather than later. I'm also going to be setting aside projects for you guys to decide the low temperatures, because like right now you saw what I did for the highs. What I plan on doing for next year is I'm going to do the highs and the lows. And the highs are going to be temperatures, which I explained this in my finalized 2025 plans video like a week or two ago, a couple weeks ago, I think it was. Saturday. Wow. So my low temperatures that I want to do, I'm going to have one set of projects for the high temps, and that's projects that I pick. And the low temperatures are going to be projects that you guys pick, that you guys get to vote on. So I'm going to do the whip parade, set all this stuff aside that I would like to work on sooner rather than later. And from that pile, I'm going to figure out what's going to be temperature stitching, what's going to be Monopoly stitching, like all that stuff. And then I'm also going to film a help me choose video where you guys help me pick the low temperatures. And I will leave that part, I will leave that voting up. That'll be a whole separate video, so that if you don't like doing that stuff, you don't have to watch it. That's not going to be included in anything. Like it's not going to be included in a regular Flosstube. It's not going to be in my whip parade. That's going to be a whole separate video. That way, if that's something that you guys don't like, because that's not everybody's cup of tea, then you don't have to worry about that. But that will be a separate video that I will get posted up this weekend. And I will probably leave the voting up until... I'm still thinking if I'm going to have the voting up for 1 week or 2 weeks. I'm not sure. And then I will just add the low temperatures in once the voting is done. I'll do a video where I show you which ones. I'll either do a separate video showing which ones are going to be in the low temperatures, or I will do a video, or I'll just include it in my Flosstube. But yeah, so I got to film the end of month recap tonight still. So I'm going to be up late, which I always am anyway. But I got to do the end of month recap tonight. I'm going to do the whip parade tomorrow, set that stuff aside, figure out what I'm going to work on. I'm going to film another video showing you what all the projects are that are going to be starting the year off for 2025. That's just going to be a quick, this is going to be this piece, this is going to be this piece, this is going to be this piece, because I did not do that when I switched all my plans up over this, like over the end of the summer. And some people had commented, oh, I'm really sad because I like seeing that stuff, like what pieces you're going to work on. Gracie woke up from her nap. Hi, Gracie. And then I'm also going to film a video of help me choose and for the low temperatures for the next year. Not the next year, but like starting off the year. And then once I get all that stuff filmed, then I will do an addendum, a Flosstube extra, showing you what my plans are for the few days I have remaining left in the week. So I probably will get little stitching done this weekend. So I'm not going to stress it too much. Not a big deal. But when I film that addendum showing you what the plans are going to be It's going to be a really low week for Monopoly, and that is okay because I'm not going to have a lot of time to work on it anyway, and neither will you guys, because my regular Flosstube will still be posting this coming Thursday. And so my regular Flosstube next Thursday will be kicking off all the new boards with all the stitch counts. So it's going to have the Monopoly stitches, all like the Monopoly pieces all listed with 4,000 stitches before they get replaced. It's going to have the what I had talked about with the non-full coverage focus and the full coverage focus, like quote unquote, listed out of those. We're gonna start all over with pulling the like the ones, oh my god, the new starts. The new starts that I have listed right now, they're not going to carry over into the new plans. What I'm going to do is they are able to be worked on in all of the new plans that are happening. So like Christmas cupcake that I had pulled out of the basket for the new start rotation, that I definitely do want to, I do know that piece is going to get worked into the new plan somehow because I want to get more stitches on it. So I just don't know where yet, if it's going to be Monopoly, if it's going to be one of the focus rotations, or if it's going to be like in temperature stitching. I don't know all that part yet. I'm going to figure all that out probably tomorrow. But so all of the current new starts are going to be able to be included in the plans of Monopoly, temperature, and kind of focus rotation things. What's carrying over from my current plans into the new plans is going to be Bake Off. I'm keeping everything the same. And my Whip of Shame. Those like the projects from Bake Off and my Whip of Shame are and Yippee-Ki-Yay, because I'm doing that for my kid. That stuff is still carrying over. That's not changing. So I guess I could show you that real quick. So I guess I do have a little bit of plans for you. So Bake Off. Where did my notebook go? Where did my notebook go? Where did the notebook go? That's not it. Where did the notebook go? Here it is. Okay, so for Bake Off, I can go ahead and show you that part. For week 6, one person got a handshake, and their stitch count assigned to them is 1,100 stitches. Oh, I was changing my plans for Bake Off. Okay, so my plans for Bake Off for the main stitching is that if there is a handshake, it gets 500 stitches. I do need that pen I dropped earlier. Okay, so my plans for Bake Off, my new plans for Bake Off, I'm going to go ahead and morph into those. My new plans for Bake Off is that if someone gets a handshake, I add 500 stitches to Honeymoon Sunset. So that's what I was changing. The eliminated and the eliminated player and the Star Baker, those stitches remain the same. So hang on. The Star Baker had a stitch count assigned to them of 1,100 stitches. That's who got a handshake. But 1,100 for getting Star Baker, 500 for a handshake is 1,600. The person who is eliminated had a stitch count of 200. 16. So Honeymoon Sunset is due to get 1,800 stitches on it. And then the person who came in last place, and then my technical stitches, I was changing the stitch count once the bakers hit 6 bakers left. So week number 6, there's still 7 bakers left. So those stitch counts are staying the same. The person who came in last place on Bake Off for the technical stitches, they had an odd stitch count assigned to them. So Bake the World, the cupcake piece with the beads, that is going to get another 175 stitches on it. And then the one who came in first place had an even stitch count assigned to them. So 7 bakers remaining. So I did 7 times 25 and got 175. Yes. Right? Yeah, I did the math. And then 7 times 50 for the one who came in first place is 350. And that one had an even stitch count assigned to them. So this is the one I'm going to show you. April's done. Hang on. I was debating on between 2, I think it was. I was debating between 2, May or September. So let's look at both of them. My Calendar Girls pieces from Little House Needleworks. May and September have both been started. So let's look at both of them side by side and see which one's closer to a finish. Looks like September is. So September will be the new Bake Off piece. Now let me put them back in their bags. Okay, so the new Bake Off, the new even? Yeah, the new even Bake Off stitching is going to be from Little House Needleworks, the Calendar Girl series from 2014. I want to do all 4 of them. And this is September. And that's my starting point. And she is going to get 350 stitches on her. All of that is completed. I just need to work on her. So I'll get 350 stitches on her pants because I have her feet done. So I'm going to do 350 stitches on her pants. I don't know if I'm going to work from both legs and work my way up, or if I'm just going to work up one leg so I can get up to her and kind of spread the stitches out a little bit more. Not sure yet. So the Bake Off stitching, since I just needed to adjust really the handshake part, I have that for plans for right now. My temperature pieces are going to change, so there's no point in going over that. And Monopoly, the game has ended. You guys can still keep whatever you're doing. You guys can still keep doing that, like regarding what pieces you're working on if you are stitching along at home. The only thing that's going to change is I need to change the whips that I'm using for Monopoly. And when I post my addendum, my Flosstube Extra, whatever you want to call it, when I post it this weekend, the stitch counts are going to be down because we are starting a whole new game. I'm also using new tokens, but I'll let you know because I'm replacing, I don't know if I'm going to replace all 4 or if I'm replacing 2 of them. So when I decide that, I'll let you know if you, because like if you were, I know I'm definitely replacing the car and the thimble because I have a rubber, like, I mean, they're little metal pieces, but I have a rubber duck and a penguin and I want to play with those. So I'm debating if I'm going to do the cat, the dog, the duck, and the penguin, so it's all animals, or if I'm going to replace all 4 of them to the other 4 pieces that were included in my game. And that would be the hat and the ship and the duck and the penguin. I might just do the animals. So if I just replace 2 of them, I'll let you know which ones are getting replaced with what for this week. That way you have, like, you know what you're going off of, so you know which token to use. Because some people, like I said, some people stitch along at home and they pick a token, and whatever their token lands on, those are the stitches that they do. But those stitch counts are pretty much all going to be 100 stitches each, because that is what I do for my first round of Monopoly, is because my house rules, when I play a normal Monopoly game, you're not allowed to buy properties the first round, so that the pieces kind of spread out a little bit. So what I'm doing, instead of being able to buy properties, they're all going to do 100 stitches on whatever they land on. So that'll be a nice easy week. I just don't know what pieces are going where yet. Let me see. So, And then the pieces that I pulled, all that stuff is getting replaced. So I'm not going to worry about anything that I just pulled. We went over Bake Off, Monopoly, and temperature. Okay, so I have my, so at least for right now, if I have time to work on something before I can film all my other stuff, I've got my Bake Off stitching, and then I have Yippee-Ki-Yay, and I have my Whip of Shame. So there's some pieces I can work on in between if I need to like just take a break from filming for a little bit. Otherwise, I will be posting I'll be filming my end of month recap tonight. I will be filming my whip parade tomorrow. So what I will get that posted. I will get my whip parade posted this weekend. I don't know if it's going to post on Saturday or if it's going to post on Sunday. You guys are going to be seeing a shit ton of videos from me coming up in the next few days. Because we have this one here that's filming right now. End of month recap for the month of November, where I show you everything I worked on in the month of November. Whip parade, however many parts that's going to end up being. I feel like it's going to end up being like maybe 3 parts of maybe about 2 hours each. So it might be a 6-hour whip parade. Help me choose the low temperatures. What pieces are starting off the new plans, like what pieces are kicking off the new plans. And then another video of playing the first round of Monopoly and what my plans are going to be up until Thursday when I film my regular Flosstube. What a way to end my 100th Flosstube. Completely change everything at the last minute. Are you surprised? No. Do you enjoy it? Yes, you do. That's why you watch me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go so that I can get all this stuff set up, because once I'm done filming my I got to get all my pieces together for the end of month recap. Oh my God. Oh, Lord have mercy. And then I have to set up for my whip parade, so I'm ready to go in the morning. I have so much to do. That's why I'm not stitching tonight. All right, so if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below. If you like what you had to see and you're not already subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. There's a lot of videos coming out in the next few days, so you might want to wait on the notifications because you're going to get dinged a lot. Okay, so take care. Happy stitching. Get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you in the next video, which will be in the next, who knows, it could be a few hours, could be one day, but it will be very soon. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.